I'm H. Crosby.
And I'm Hazel Crosby.
This is Mary. And I'm Angela.
And I'm Jonah.
Chapter 50, A Nice Midget. My reading of the life of Bokonon was interrupted by H. Crosby's wife, Hazel. She was standing in the aisle next to me.
You'll never believe it,
She said,
but I just found 2 more Hoosiers on this airplane.
I'll be damned.
They weren't born Hoosiers, but they live there. They live in Indianapolis.
Very interesting.
You want to meet them?
You think I should? The question baffled her.
They're your fellow Hoosiers.
What are their names?
Her name's Connors and his name's Honecker. They're brother and sister, and he's a midget. He's a nice midget, though.
She winked.
He's a smart little thing.
Does he call you Mom?
I almost asked him to, and then I stopped, and I wondered if maybe it wasn't rude to ask a midget to do that.
Nonsense! Chapter 51. Okay, Mom. So I went off to talk to Angela Honecker Connors and little Newton Honecker, members of my class. Angela was the horse-faced platinum blonde I had noticed earlier. Newt was a very tiny young man indeed, though not grotesque. He was as nicely scaled as Gulliver among the broad Dinniganians, and as shrewdly watchful too. He held a glass of champagne, which was included in the price of his ticket. That glass was to him what a fishbowl would have been to a normal man, but he drank from it with elegant ease, as though he and the glass could not have been better matched. That little son of a bitch had a crystal of ice nine and a thermos bottle in his luggage, and so did his miserable sister. while under us was God's own amount of the Caribbean Sea. When Hazel had got all the pleasure she could from introducing Hoosiers to Hoosiers, she left us alone.
Remember,
She said as she left us,
from now on, call me Mom.
Okay, Mom.
Okay, Mom.
His voice was fairly high, in keeping with his little larynx. Angela persisted in treating Newt like an infant, and he forgave her for it with an amiable grace I would have thought impossible for one so small. Newt and Angela remembered me, remembered the letters I'd written, and invited me to take the empty seat in their group of 3.
Yay.
Angela apologized to me for having never answered my letters. Your brother here wrote me a very good letter. Angela was surprised.
Newt did? How could Newt remember anything?
She turned to him.
Honey, you don't remember anything about that day, do you? You were just a baby.
I remember.
He said mildly.
I wish I had seen the letter.
She implied that Newt was still too immature to deal directly with the outside world. Angela was a god-awfully insensitive woman, with no feeling for what smallness meant to Newt.
Honey, you should have showed me that letter.
She scolded.
Sorry. I didn't think.
I might as well tell you.
Angela said to me.
Dr. Reed told me I wasn't supposed to cooperate with you. He said you weren't interested in giving a fair picture of Father.
She showed me that she didn't like me for that. I placated her some by telling her that the book would probably never be done anyway, and that I no longer had a clear idea of what it would or should mean.
Well, if you ever do the book, you better make Father a saint, because that's what he was.
I promised that I would do my best to paint that picture. I asked if she and Newt were bound for a family reunion with Frank and San Lorenzo.
Frank's getting married. We're going to the engagement party.
Oh, who's the lucky girl?
I'll show you.
Said Angela, and she took from her purse a billfold that contained a sort of plastic accordion. In each of the accordion pleats were a photograph. Angela flipped through the photographs, giving me glimpses of little Newt on a Cape Cod beach, of Dr. Felix Hoeniger accepting his Nobel Prize, of Angela's own homely twin girls, of Frank flying a model plane on the end of a string. And then she showed me a picture of the girl Frank was going to marry. She might, with equal effect, have struck me in the groin. The picture she showed me was of Mona Ammons Monzano, the woman I loved. That's the end of that page.